Episode 9, The First Signs, A Growing Darkness. Anya had become accustomed to the extraordinary. The lost city, the heart-shaped tree, the subterranean world, all had stretched the boundaries of her reality. Yet the strange occurrences that began to unfold around her were of a different order. They were intimate, personal, and deeply unsettling. It started with dreams, vivid, hallucinatory sequences that blurred the lines between sleep and wakefulness. She dreamt of the lost city, not as a static image, but as a living, breathing entity, its crystalline structures pulsating with an otherworldly energy. But there were new elements, disturbing images of shadows creeping into the city's heart, corrupting its pristine beauty. Then came the physical manifestations. Objects moved on their own accord. Books flew off shelves, doors creaked open in the dead of night, and electronic devices malfunctioned without reason. At first, she attributed these occurrences to stress, to the immense pressure of her work. But as the incidents increased in frequency and intensity, doubt crept in. A more sinister aspect of these occurrences was the sense of being watched. Shadows seemed to shift in the corners of her vision, and a cold draft would often caress her neck when no window was open. Paranoia began to seep into her consciousness, a constant companion that eroded her sense of security. The team members also began to experience strange occurrences. Evelyn reported unexplainable energy fluctuations in the lost city, as if something was waking up from a long slumber. Ben's equipment malfunctioned with increasing regularity, and Maya claimed to hear whispers in ancient languages during her sleep. The Oku Forest, once a source of solace, now seemed to be a place of unease. The heart-shaped tree, the guardian of the forest, emitted a faint, pulsating light, a sign of distress that Anya couldn't ignore. The creatures of the forest were agitated, their behavior unpredictable. A sense of impending doom settled over Anya. She felt as if she was being drawn into a vortex, a maelstrom of energy that was both terrifying and alluring. The lost city, once a symbol of hope, now seemed to be a catalyst for something sinister. The team decided to increase their vigilance. They installed security cameras, monitored the city remotely, and took turns keeping watch. But the strange occurrences continued, escalating in intensity. One night, while on watch, Ben witnessed a horrifying sight. A shadowy figure emerged from the depths of the lost city. It was humanoid in shape, but devoid of any human features. Its eyes glowed with an unnatural light, and its movements were swift and predatory. Fear gripped the team. They realized they were not alone in their exploration of the lost city. Something or someone was watching them, waiting for the right moment to strike. The realization was both terrifying and exhilarating. They were on the brink of a discovery that could change the world, but at what cost? The line between explorers and prey was blurring, and the stakes had never been higher. The unease that had crept into their lives had solidified into a palpable fear. The lost city, once a beacon of hope, now seemed to be a malignant growth, spreading its influence far beyond its physical boundaries. Anya began to experience physical symptoms. Exhaustion, despite ample sleep, was a constant companion. Her dreams became more vivid, more terrifying. She would wake up drenched in sweat, her heart pounding in her chest. There were also inexplicable pains like phantom limbs that would rack her body. The team members were not immune to these physical manifestations. Evelyn suffered from migraines that left her incapacitated for days. Ben experienced hallucinations, seeing shadows move in the corners of his vision, even when he was in broad daylight. Maya's health began to deteriorate, her once vibrant spirit dimmed by a pervasive sense of despair. The forest, their sanctuary, was no longer a place of solace. The heart-shaped tree, their connection to the ancient wisdom, was fading rapidly. Its once vibrant glow had dimmed to a sickly yellow, and its leaves were beginning to wither. strange occurrences multiplied. Electronic devices, even those shielded from electromagnetic interference, malfunctioned inexplicably. Communication with the outside world became increasingly difficult. It was as if the lost city was erecting a barrier, isolating them from the rest of the world. The creatures of the forest grew more aggressive. Attacks on livestock and even humans were reported in the surrounding areas. The once harmonious balance between humans and nature was being disrupted, and the forest seemed to be the epicenter of this upheaval. Anya felt a growing sense of isolation. The world outside seemed oblivious to the growing darkness, consumed by its own problems. She was alone, with a handful of loyal companions, facing a threat that was both ancient and terrifying. The team realized that they were dealing with something far beyond their understanding. The lost city was not just a place. It was a living entity, a force of nature with its own agenda. And that agenda was becoming increasingly clear: to consume, to dominate. Anya knew that they had to act, and they had to act fast. The city was awakening, and when it did, the consequences would be catastrophic. But how to stop it? How to defeat an enemy that seemed invincible? The realization that they were facing a battle for the survival of the planet had settled like a cold, heavy weight on the team. The lost city, once a beacon of hope, had transformed into a malevolent entity, a growing darkness threatening to engulf the world. Anya, with a grim determination, led the team in preparing for the inevitable confrontation. They fortified their base, installed advanced security systems, and stockpiled supplies. The lost city was no longer a place of exploration, but a fortress under siege. The heart-shaped tree, their lifeline to the forest's wisdom, was their focus. They tended to it with the utmost care, hoping to revitalize its fading energy. They performed ancient rituals, seeking to reawaken the tree's dormant power. Evelyn, the archaeologist, delved deeper into the city's history, searching for clues about the ancient civilization's battle against the darkness. She found evidence of a weapon, a device capable of immense power, hidden deep within the city's core. But to activate it, they needed a specific sequence, a harmony of elements that only the heart-shaped tree could provide. Ben, the engineer, worked tirelessly to develop countermeasures against the technological anomalies they were facing. He created devices to shield them from the strange energy fields and to disrupt the enemy's communication systems. Maya, the linguist, continued to decipher the ancient language, hoping to find a way to communicate with the city's original inhabitants. As days turned into nights, a sense of impending doom grew stronger. The forest was in turmoil. Creatures, once peaceful, roamed the land with a savage hunger. The sky was often obscured by dark clouds, and strange atmospheric phenomena were becoming commonplace. The team began to experience vivid shared dreams. They saw the city as a monstrous entity, its crystalline structures morphing into grotesque shapes. The heart-shaped tree, a tiny beacon of hope, was surrounded by a sea of darkness. Anya knew that the final confrontation was imminent. The city was gathering its strength, preparing for a decisive strike. She felt a strange calm, a sense of acceptance. This was the moment they had been preparing for, the culmination of their journey. They armed themselves with the tools they had gathered, knowledge, technology, and an unwavering spirit. They stood at the precipice, ready to face the unknown. The city responded. The ground began to tremble, and a low, ominous hum filled the air. The crystalline structures began to glow with an intense, otherworldly light. The team braced themselves, their hearts pounding in their chests. This was it. The battle had begun.